if we start to shift our mindset on that, a lot more people will become more accepting of media. And I know there are reasons why people don't like things, even in a positive light, but the more we use voices, the more we're willing to listen, the better our stories are going to become.
That's a great extension to the main thing that you already highlighted. And you made me come up with a question which is a little bit more selfish. Now, you mentioned about representing those people who are not represented, and we connect with stories that in some way or another are we are familiar with them. Even yes, we are attracted to something that we are familiar with. One of my favorite stories, favorite movies, series are usually connected to the Italian mafia, The Godfather, The Sopranos, etc., etc. I have nothing in common with that. I'm just a simple guy who went to high school, went to college, started a did 9 to 5 job. Why do we are usually attracted to such stories that are not so relevant to us, but are still unique and interesting?
So I think it's, and I love that question. I think it's a very complex thing. I don't think I'm going to be able to answer that perfectly,
Okay.
but I think for a lot of people, whether we realize it or not, we have then a desire to explore things that are outside of our world, outside of our experiences. And that's one of the great things about storytelling. Like, I love fantasy, but I'm not going to know what the world of the Lord of the Rings. I know a lot of people love Game of Thrones. And I think the great thing about stories and why we connect to stories that are outside of our scope is because they allow a realm of escapism, but a realm
Yeah.
of exploring things we think we're never going to see, to understand things that for a moment helps us to feel free and explore worlds, go beyond ours. I also really love sci-fi and the idea of like the hero going out into a world like Star Wars, Luke Skywalker going out and defeating great evil, or even just like, the movie Wall-E. A bunch of people love that. It's a story of
Yeah.
redemption and hope for humanity. And I think, if you like drama, there's a degree of like chaos that we like, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think, at our whole, as human beings, we want something different than what we know, and we want to learn about it. We want to expand our knowledge and believe that there is magic or technology or wonder out in the world. And so I think that when it comes to stories, the reason we're drawn to those is because of their power to inspire, to make us cry, to make us want to know things. And I think also there's an idea, I always say as kids, we were born with a desire for creativity for a reason, right? Where as
Yep.
kids, we're born to want to survive, to want to explore, to want to grow, to understand. And creativity is just as much a part of that like human survival. And so I could go on this topic alone, but I think, in that I've explained a lot of different things, but it's part of that human childlike desire to explore, I think, as well.
And we basically draws the adventurous characteristics out of the person. And for somebody can be, the Godfather, for somebody can be Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. But in one way or another, we're looking for another world that we're not so much familiar with, but we want to be there in some way or another. Now, Thomas, I want to move on because I didn't get the chance to mention it in the beginning, but a lot of your current work, besides the creative advocacy and storytelling agency, is that you're looking for ways to help communities, events, and with events about storytelling. And you already mentioned it a couple of times, with for youth and for adult as well. Now, uh, I would like to briefly introduce us with your work, with your concept, and the follow-up question I'm just going to show that, like, what are the benefits that you see out of those storytelling events? How are they helpful for the well-being of others?
And I mean, the biggest things that I've seen with that's helped so many people is help people to find a community, to help people find and develop their voice, their exploration, their desires. I've mentioned, in my work that storytelling is this great capacity to connect people. And I think that's very true. But among that, what I've also seen in helping people find their creative voice or their motivation is also helping people find like real life skills like problem solving, math, creativity, as well as public speaking and mindfulness skills. My work has really been blessed by the desire and the focus for to help people understand and have a fun time, but it's also really backed up by very much proven methods of education and psychology and a wide variety of other skills.